So I welcome you back. Sorry for the break in transmission. The network is behaving funny. So let's continue from where we stopped. So after we've checked how to determine the gross value. So now let's look into relationship between some gross value and other values. Let's look into it. And so I said earlier that gross value is what is our rent. Please, I'm saying this in relation to property rating administration. Please, very important. Gross value is the same thing as our what, as our rent without the deductions. Not no deduction has been made. But when looking at the net annual value, we will see that it is our gross value minus every other expenses that you might incur, such as repairs, maintenance, insurance, as the case may be. So our NAV is often the basis for rateable value in practice. Please let's take note of that. And then when we are relating gross value with rateable value, well, in some jurisdictions, you will say that rateable value is a fraction or adjusted form of what gross value. Rateable value is a what, is a fraction or adjusted form of what gross value when adjustment has been made on gross value, when a percentage has been has been applied to it, then we can say that okay, what we are left with is what our rateable value. When we might have used our rates, which could be probably 10%, 5%, as the case may be, depending on the statutory policy of such local municipal. So let's also look into the practicability of gross value. The practicability of gross value. I really don't want it to be, abstract. So let's paint a picture of how a gross value should look like in relation to property rating. So the first example here is let's take an example of a residential property in Lagos. For example, let's say Surulere, 3-bedroom flat in Surulere. So the rent is 1.5 million. So when considering property rate and they're asking for the gross value, so it is expected that the gross value is equivalent to what? Our rent without what? Without deduction. Without deduction. So if NAV is considered now, then the landlord may be thinking of, oh, let me deduct maybe 100,000 for repairs, for insurance, for maintenance. So giving us a net annual value of what? Of 1.4 million. Of 1.4 million. And we all know that this is not equivalent to the rent the person is going to what? Is going to pay. Then another example is a market stall. Market stall, let's take Bodija in Ibadan, for example. After might have done our market survey, we are going to notice that we are going to be getting variance in rental passing. Is going to vary. So for example, you can have the range of between 180,000 to 220,000. So it is for you to now get the average value of such market store. At the end of the day, the average of this is what? Is 200,000, which shows that our gross value for an average store at Bodija market is what? Is 200,000. It's 200,000. Then another practical example is let's say a petrol station located in Kaduna. So as I said earlier in this class that petrol station, for example, is a specialized property. is a specialized property. So what we are interested here basically is what is their annual fuel sales profit. Their annual fuel sales profit. Let's assume an estimation of 40 million naira per annum. And then I know with that, a tenant will preferably to pay like, okay, let me pay 10% of my profit as what? As rent, which is 4 million naira. So in a way, the gross value for this petrol station is what? It's 4 million naira per annum. 4 million naira per annum. So this is just a little practical example of how gross value is in relation to what? Property rating. So now let's briefly look into the importance of gross value. Importance of gross value. Earlier in this class, I said something like the gross value is the what? Is the bedrock. Is the bedrock, is the foundation for any words of valuation in rating practice. It is the bedrock. That is what we work with. That is the first thing we need to establish. Even before doing any calculation, we need to get our gross value correctly, because that forms our basis of what? Our basis of valuation in them, in rating. And also another importance is that it ensures uniformity and fairness in tax assessments. So by the time you have your gross value right, in a way, it won't, I was talking about variation the other time. Then there wouldn't be any need for variation. Then it shows that, okay, across, so it's going to be 200,000. So our gross value helps to, eliminate every form of variation. So now we now have a uniform value that we are now using, just to ensure what? Fairness in what? In tax assessment, or fairness in what? In rating assessment. Then another one is it provides a reference standard for our valuation list. Initially, I was showing us the table the other time where we have variations. But now that with the help of uniformity, what will now happen? It shows that we now have a standard we are working with. We now have a gross value everybody is working with. So in a way, it gives us a what? A standard even for our valuation list. A standard for our valuation list. And also with that, our gross value, it has been used in many cases for in appeal, in tribunal cases, just to text for what? Correction of assessments, to know that, oh, are we on track? Oh, what they are complaining about, is it even true? Can we have the gross value for these areas to know, oh, what is happening to this person? Why is this person paying higher? Why is the person paying lower? So it has been a tool for what? A test of correctness for our assessment, and also it serves as a basis for local government revenue planning. So even with our gross value, it has helped them to even plan ahead. Now they now have uniformity, they now have a standard they work with. So even with that, they can be futuristic in their planning. They can plan ahead that, okay, this is what we are expecting. Oh, we have a standard we are working with. So it is expected that this also should come in. Then we can now draw our budget for the year, as the case may be for such a local government. So let's also look at the challenges, the likely challenges in applying this gross value, especially in Nigeria. I know we have poor rental data. We have poor rental data where many tenancy agreements are even informal. They are informal. Most of them don't even, by the time you go to all these local markets, you will notice that most of them don't even have tenancy agreement. Most of them, every agreement is done verbally. There is no written agreement that is stating, okay, this will be your annual rent for this year. They don't even have it. Most of them are not even keeping record of, oh, how much did you pay last year? How much is expected for you to pay? They don't even have it. So this serves as a challenge to us again. And then on the issue of undeclared or manipulated rent, when they are not even ready to disclose it because they don't want to, probably they are paying high, and you know that the higher your rent, the higher the rates that you are going to be paying, because they don't want to pay high, or because they don't even want to pay at all. They will try to either not declare it or try to even manipulate their rents in a way. And then we have some economic indices, some economic factors also, such as our increase in inflation, our currency volatility. In a way, it has distorted even the rental market. It has distorted the rental market on the norm. Probably now we are seeing that in a year, prices are just, increasing, and this is having effects on what? On our rental value. It's having reflect on our rental value. And also capacity gap. I said it earlier, in a situation whereby a consultant um, um, is saddled with that responsibility and the staff strength is low, how to partner with other firm in order to get more ends, in order to get more ends. So this shows that we don't have we don't have enough trained valuers, or we have shortage trained valuers in our local council, which is not meant to. We should have enough of them, so that when the exercise is on, people won't be worn out, or they won't be too much loaded with many assignments to do. Then another challenge is the taxpayer resistance. I said it earlier. We have many of them because they are running away from what? Paying. They don't want you to assess their value high, so that they won't want to pay higher rates or higher tax, as the case may be. So now we have already established that, in conclusion, that gross value is a bedrock for property rating, is a cornerstone for property rating, is a foundational concept in property rating. So because it reflects the hypothetical annual rent a property can fetch in an open market without what? Without deductions. Without deductions, because it helps to ensure fairness, consistency, and then it has been seen as a tool for legal defense in valuation, for rating purposes. So we can also say that in Nigeria, gross value proper application is very vital. It's very vital in improving our local government revenue generation, while ensuring that there are fairness in what? In the taxpayers. So we've seen that gross value is a good tool that is expected of us to get right. Is a good tool that is expected that we get right. So with this, we have some practice questions here that we can just test ourselves on it. So if you can comfortably answer these questions well, it shows them in a way you've understood the class enough. It shows that you've understood the class enough. So let's just go through them. And in case we have any question bothering us, you can drop it in the comment section, and it is going to be addressed appropriately. So thank you for listening. And then see you in the next class. Bye-bye.